Alrighty, we're here looking at the time action plan, and it's exciting to be here because this is where we document when and how or when we kind of completed every single task. Now, down the left-hand side, you're going to see all of the main headings in your folio. Boom. There's a lot of them. And yes, we've broken each major heading up into a few categories so that the marker can really see how we're utilizing our time. We've also split this up into terms. So you've got term 4, term 1, term 2, and term 3. And the reason we do this is because ideally, when we're working on a project, we go through for HSC level and we start in term 4 and work our way through. So we've got it set up that way. Now, what we're looking at here is you've got the key for the colors up here is planned is in this fuchsia, whereas the completed is in that, I'm going to say cyan. I'm going to go with it in that cyan kind of color. Now, as you can see, these indicate when something was planned to be done and when something was actually completed. So you normally do the planned one when you start the task, in the very beginning of the project. So like, when am I going to do this? And then you work your way through. And then you do the completed at the end, or as you're going, as you progress, you fill this in. Now, sometimes there's going to be differences in when you begin to do something and how long it takes. And as you can see here, I've indicated that with this little text box over here. And that's saying it took longer than expected as I was not aware of how many CAD programs there were, so I wanted to trial a few before selecting one. And as you can see, it took me 3 weeks here instead of just the one that I presumed. Over here, there's a bit of a discrepancy here. You could definitely say, over here, sorry, there's a discrepancy here where you actually got work done before you plan to, and you say, maybe we covered it, we spent a lesson on this in class, which wasn't expected or something. Now, I'm going to show you how to set this up because this is Excel and it's a little different from Word and it can be confusing. So I'm going to come over here and pretend I'm in term 2 over here. And so to do this, all I'm going to do is, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out when I think I'm going to start finishing some of these things. So I'm going to zoom in over here just because I can. It'll make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. Boom, term 2. Very first thing I want to come through and do is I want to select these units. And I'm going to do them all at once. You can definitely do them individually, but I like to do it quicker. You can do it all at once. So you click the box you want to start in, and then you press Control, not Shift, Control. And then you can tell me when you think you're going to be doing some of these things. Now, obviously, I'm not taking any care here to do this, like so. And I'm just selecting when I'm thinking I'm going to do these. And have a think. Don't just throw it out there when you're doing your actual one. Then I'm going to come through and I'm going to choose that fuchsia color to put that in there. And I'm going to click off that. And as you can see, perfect. We now need to do the same thing for when you actually completed things. So select a square, then press the control button, and it's going to allow you to select things when you wanted to, like so. And because I'm holding that control button, I don't have to do one and then the other and then the other, which would look like this. Alternatively, you could have done it this way, where you could have come in and just selected all those in a row and done it. But it works in rows. It doesn't work so well in columns to do that. After you've done that, we need to insert a text box explaining why it's taken us so long. So to do that, we're going to come up to Insert. I always click Text box, and then you can come up to here to Format Shape. From here, I really like the curved one. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw this one in. Now, as you can see, it automatically added the text box down here for me, and I don't want that text box. I'm going to delete that. Now, I'm sure there's another way to get here. I just don't know it. So I'm going to come back up to here now. I'm going to change that color because I really don't want that being the same color as this. So for me, I think I had a light pink before. Yeah, that color will do us. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to just choose whichever color suits, whatever that color can do, and I'm going to change the outline to the same. You don't have to, you can have a different outline, it's up to you, it doesn't really matter. From here, I'm going to double click, and when you double click, it gives you the ability to add text. So to add text, I'm going to come through and I'm going to write in, took longer than expected due to teacher talking through the first lesson. Perfect. From here, you can then shrink that just a smidge to try and get it into the rows. And as you can see, it can cause trouble, which means you can stretch that out. So you do have that whole space you can do that in. Now, alternatively, what you can do, and this is what I did on the other side, is, let's say it takes a bit more space. Let's say we're talking about this one down here. What I can do is I can place this here, and I can then draw in an arrow. For that, I go over to this arrow, and you can just draw in that arrow there. Now, obviously we want something a bit thicker than that, so come in so they can see it. That's going to talk about that one. And then if you had another box for this one here, you can paste that, and you can paste that over here, and then you could replicate that arrow pointing to where you need it to go. And of course, with these you can shape shift a bit. So the aim is that you go through and you fill all this in, and if you just have the rows colored, you'll get good marks. It's good. But if you go through and you talk as to why things have taken longer, that's where you're going to get like top marks for this section. Like you can't go any further. It's organized, it's clear, you've explained why things haven't worked, which is another version of that ongoing evaluation. So you definitely could go through and color this the same coloring as your ongoing evaluation is. And then pretty much you fill it in for all of this. And it's not hard, it's not going to take you too long. Sometimes if you can't remember an excuse, just make one up. Finally, when you come through here, go Control A, and you can always select text preferences. I like having my text the same, so I'm going to change this to Times New Roman and size 12. Perfect. Now, the last thing I'm going to say to do, the very last thing we need to do here is we need to export these into Word. Now, you can't just copy and paste the whole lot because it shrinks it too small. And if it's too small, it's problematic. So what we come through and do is I'm going to come down to the very bottom of this one here. I'm going to select that one there. I'm going to bring that across to that center there. I'm going to bring that up like that. And that's going to highlight all of that section for me. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go copy. Don't cut in Excel. It causes problems. Copy. I'm going to come over to this Word document here, and I'm going to just paste this. Now this is where you can paste it into your document. Just paste, and it's going to be problematic. As you can see, this is not what we want. But to overcome that, we're going to come down to this little Control Paste button here. Click that, and you're going to say paste as a picture, like so. And then all of a sudden, you've got your time action plan right here, nice and neat. Now, yes, the text is smaller than we'd like, but it fits on a page. And sometimes that's what we're after, is just a singular page. So we've got one on one page, the other on the other. Now, obviously, you can always shrink or expand that, like so. You definitely could do it in parts. Like you could modify this if you wanted. This is the best way I've figured out how to do it. I wish you all the best with this. Good luck, and let me know if you've got any questions or anything to suggest to make this better. Have fun.